warning, dear, that's only on TV. It
Yeah,
doesn't exist.
yeah. I
It exists
suppose
in
so.
TV and Facebook.
What's your
Look at us on our vacation. They'll do a selfie and they're smiling on a ski trip, but off camera. I said put it here. No.
we
But the
just
perception deception,
we just had another special guest drop in here, guys. I'm gonna introduce her real quick. This is Marlena. Um, she's part of a culture that was not taught this globe nonsense,
Oh,
and
awesome. We were just talking
so
about it.
yeah, we were talking about her earlier, and somebody in the chat's like, "Hey, I could try to go grab her if you guys want," and I said, "Yeah, do that." Marlena and I have been
I
we've been running into each other all over the place lately. How you
I
doing?
know. I'm good. It's nice
Good.
to see you guys. Nice to see you, Jibby.
Yeah, you
And who's
too.
that, Louie? Nice to meet you, Louie.
You as well.
I was
Yeah,
talking
very
about
cool.
this map when you were saying that there was 26 lands. Like, I thought
That's
that was
right.
fascinating.
Yeah, because I know many people heard this in their past. If they ever hear Native people talk about Turtle Island, and the reason why we call that is because there's 26. Um, you know, every turtle has 26. What do you call those? Capice? Are they called capice or whatever? Carapace? Those pieces, the scoots. Okay, every turtle has 26 scoots. So this is why we call it that. Is because sorry, my dog is just a little brat. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, so what happens is when you look at the true flat Earth, right? It has these 26 scoots, just like a turtle does. That's the only reason why we call it Turtle Island. And us being in the center, so that's 27 altogether. Because we're the center, and then you got your 26. Every turtle that you'll ever see will have the 26 scoots on them. And then we consider like the living part, the essence or whatever would be us in the very middle, and then it spreads out into all these other places. We've always known about them. So I can't debate this globe for people who want to debate. I can't do that because I wasn't brought up knowing that stuff.
That's crazy. Which is not.
Yes.
We're the ones who are crazy, actually. But
Yeah, well, I don't understand how. And I get to that thing where people say, well, how do you know that you're not wrong and we're all right? I hear that a lot. And I'm like, well, because it just doesn't make sense. Even when I learned about the spinning globe and all that jazz, no matter how many times different people explained it to me, it still didn't whatsoever. It still doesn't. I still can't wrap my mind around it, right? But my whole community is brought up this way. My children, my parents.
So what's what? Maybe I'm just missing it. What I mean,
spit
is
it out?
there proof of like these 26?
Yes.
Like where does this information come from?
Okay, so this is what happens in our community. When we're taught history, right? There has to be at least 2 medicine men and quite a few elders have to sit there during any kind of a teaching. And so our stories do not change. Okay, there's no Chinese whispers. They used to call them Chinese whispers. When you tell somebody something, they whisper it, and then the next person says if they add something, and then the next person will add something. Well, we never did that. Our story never changed, and we have this in documented diaries from people all these years. We have hieroglyphs and everything in our stuff like that. We have stuff that is done in stone, and the reason why it's done that way, and it's done in like moose horn, stuff like that, stuff that can't be can't be rotted, something that can't rot away, right? Mm-hmm. And these same stories just remain the same. And we do these teachings every year, and we invite people every July. We have powwow every year, for all people, not just Native people, but for all people to come and learn, because not knowing, like I mean, I wasn't stupid, you know what I mean? It's not like I didn't know what was going on the outside. It's just the fact of sticking with our culture and sticking with our natural traditions, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And the reason why we know this stuff is because these places were accessible at one time.
How far back would you say your teachings go? Is there? I mean, is there? Is
15 to 20,000 years. The oldest, and it was done by oh, I'm so sorry, you guys got me when I just walked in the door.
it's no problem.
When they carbon dated, it's called a radiocarbon date. It's the most efficient way. When it was radiocarbon dated, the oldest story, which is on this piece of leather, right, was dated to be 15,000 to 20,000 years old.
Wow.
I'm leaning more towards 20,000-year-old because the way that this lady, her name is Mora, she taught forensic anthropology here in our community. That way, if we find bones and stuff, that we can tell how old they were. She taught our whole community this, and she's quite popular in finding. Let's say if she finds bones or whatever, she can tell you how someone died, how old they were, and all that. How old they were when they died. Well, she ended up teaching us this, so we have this kind of a knowledge inside our community. She couldn't get over it. She's stunned by how old, like, everybody had kept their stuff. And the reason why all our tribes are named different things, a lot of people don't realize this. At one time, whole North America was one tribe, right? And so with me, I'm a Micmac. I'm from the Micmac tribe. And the reason why we named our names all different is so that we could find each other, because there were seers that knew that the blue-eyed people were coming. This is what they call them, the blue-eyed people. They were coming because they've seen it in their visions and stuff. And they knew they were coming from these other lands. They didn't know that it was going to be anything, dangerous, because, we come from a very kind of people.
Yeah.
So we named each one of our tribes are named differently so that they know where we could find each other. So Micmac here, what that means is the people from the dawn, which they knew that they could find us here on the East Coast.
Gotcha.
Each one is named after where they are, just because so that we could all find each other very easily. But yeah, being a flat earther, which I don't even consider it, it's not even an issue here. I mean, it's nothing that people even bother. It's not.
It's like you would call you
It's not a big
basically
deal.
call yourself an earther, because
Yeah,
it's
just a human being. Yeah.
You don't have to label it that way. You don't have to
No.
even quantify it the way that we do, because yeah, I'm just fascinated by that. I would really love to get your personal story into Flat Revival magazine. I mean, I don't know if you're down to do that, but I would love to do it.
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be fine. Yeah, I'm up with that.
Yeah.
Someone asked me, you and I talked, Ty.
Yeah.
Asked me when did I ever think about the globe? When I ever seen the globe, and I was thinking, well, maybe that was an aesthetic reason. It wrapped into a ball like that, so it's easier for people to look at. You know what I mean?
That is my girlfriend
big
said
piece of
that
paper.
when I talked about, was talking about trying to describe to her about you and your background. She's like, well, maybe they just saw it as some kind of, yeah, they knew it was out there, but they thought it was just some kind of aesthetic way to represent it or something.
Yeah, and it makes sense that way, but it doesn't, and also, if people don't know who I am, I'm also a pilot. So I see the flat plane from every direction. And there's a lot of times where people say, well, how come no one ever said anything to you or that way? But, as soon as you say you're native, people back away. They don't touch that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, okay, she's native. Let's,
Right.
They don't make a big deal out of it.
Well, that's because anything that's going to come out of your mouth is going to be mystical.
Yeah, especially
Right.
all the questions lately, right? With witchcraft and magic was legalized here in Canada a couple months ago.
Right.
So it's like, okay, they're really not going to touch this.
They're not going to touch it. Right. Right. Well,
yeah,
we
because you can
are.
look up anywhere. Every tribe believes the same thing. I shouldn't even say believe. We know.
Yeah, it's a knowing, not a believing necessarily, because you trust the chain of information, which is exactly what you described. It was a
right
and
experience, right?
That's powerful.
Ty.
Yeah, that's powerful.
It is. It's all about experience. If you can't experience it, if somebody's only sat in a classroom all their life looking at the spinning little ball, that's all you're going to know.
Right.
To me, I find that everybody that's learned or taught this way was in some sort of a jail, like you were mentally held hostage, and I consider it that way.
I
Only because it's
agree.
how
That's why
you know.
we've been starting our live streams lately with what would be termed chain gang music, classic
Yeah,
recordings of people in prison uh, making music, and it's a metaphor for that, the very thing you just said. And I think we all have been raised in a kind of prison.
right. And music is the first sounds, right? And music was the way we all communicated. That's why when you hear our language or in our music, you hear the hey ya, hey ya, that stuff. That's our original sounds were music, and that's how we all communicated.
Yeah.
Everybody did, not just us. Everybody. That's how we all communicated.
Nice. Nice. Well,
Yeah, and go for it. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you
we
off. I'm
no,
sorry.
it's no problem. Well, we've got Jibby on here, and we're presenting a bunch of evidence to show that this globe thing, this heliocentrism, is not something that was accepted 500 years ago. In fact, it's a very recent phenomenon. So, I love having you here. But I still want. He has a bunch of stuff to present that I'd like him to continue
Well, I
presenting
could listen
too.
Yeah,
to
I'm
her go
sorry.
on about the native
I
all
just let it
day.
go real quick. I just wanted to say where I stand. That way, everyone knows. The ones that don't know who I am. I mean, I'm not popular or anything. I just know on the flat Earth community, I'm
Yeah,
asked a
you're
lot of
popular.
questions. So I try to answer them really, really quick. You know what I mean?
And
That way.
No,
firsthand information.
that's what we
Sorry,
love.
Jibby.
We wanna continue talking to you about this and having you share that. I'd like Jibby to share a little bit, some more of this info, and then we can get into like a
Can I say
more.
something real quick?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna say something really fast.
do it.
That picture, that is it you, Jibby, that has it up?
Yep.
Okay, that picture is almost exactly what ours looks like. I was saying I've been trying to draw it out because we're not allowed to take pictures things here. And it's just the way it is. I
I
go
get it.
by, I have to listen to it. I'm not allowed to take pictures. But I did ask for permission to draw it out. So I am in the process of drawing out. But that right there, it looks almost like it. So what you do is when you what do you call it? Like section them out. You section them out in pieces, and it looks like the turtle shell. Like some of these are a little bit closer, some of them a little bit farther away, but that really looks like we were taught.
That is really cool.
And is that the limit?
No,
Is that the limit of it all?
no, that's not the limit. You figure there's 26 of these pieces around you, and us, the middle center, that's us, right? And then there's the 26 around us, why it looks like the turtle shell. Some of these are supposed to be grouped together,
Right.
and then there's more.
And so it's more, you guys are more infinite plane?
Right. I would think. Even though there is kind of a I would say, I don't see if that that's as far as we went, I think. I don't really know. I just know that there's 26 of these lands around us.
I would think you would need something fairly modern to go all the way through all them and come back and report. What
Well,
you've seen.
I don't know how much you guys believe in energy, but
The force is
right.
everywhere.
Yeah. But the Northern Lights, medicine men and their people used to travel.
Now, do you see that as is that emanating from the center? Is that a
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is.
okay?
Yep.
And that
People come from all over the world to see this thing, like to come
right.
to it. Where we live, we say it's beautiful. And every kind of science, and I say that very loosely, that try to describe what Northern Lights were, nobody can describe it, or they can't give me the proper reason for it. How do we know it wasn't for travel? And it still is, still is, because they don't let nobody go there, right?
Yeah, there's a serious party there that I need to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Just follow the lights.
No
Yeah.
doubt. Man, we all need to. Flat Revival needs to plan a trip to the North Pole for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. We need to get there before we definitely get cancer and the insurance companies lean everything that we own to pay for our treatment.
Treatment.
Treatment. I never even thought about that. It's terrible.
It's a treat. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh man. Words. Like we were talking about language earlier, and the words are so tricky.
English is a very hard language to learn.
You pretty much have to be a Jedi just to maneuver and survive.
And you guys speak backwards, so yeah.
We speak backwards?
Yeah.
I think we do.
What you say, I do not know.
I had.
Yeah, you guys speak just like what's his face, Yoda.
Yeah, I had a very difficult time learning other languages in school, and some people are good at that and some aren't. But I do think that has something to do with it. I think that English is backwards from most languages.
Oh yeah. So now, Ty, when you learn any Latin language, if you want to learn them, just look at an English sentence and put it backwards, and then you'll get it.
There you go. It'll make more sense. Okay.
Everything.
I wish
They
my
just
teacher
invert
had explained that to me, because maybe I would have got it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to put like the adjective behind the word instead of in front of the word.
Right.
Like a large house would be a house large. Yeah.
Yeah. Because our language too, like my first language is Mi'kmaq, right? Our language is not like one word means so much. And I was telling people many times, I wish you guys could speak my language, because then you'd understand more. Because we have words that you guys don't have.
Oh yeah.
That I can't explain, because one word, no matter where I put it, it could totally change the story. You know.
Yatahai.
Shut up. You're terrible. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jimmy.
No, what words? What words? Like an example?
Okay, say if somebody says Maid Alain, which is how are you, right? I'll say Muchkajawe. And a day, that could mean anything. It could mean on top of the world, which would be the very best you could be, which I can't really describe it exactly what that word means in English, but it's basically the very best that you could be, or very like on the very top, right? But if I said it late in the day, it doesn't mean it anymore. It means more like, okay. You know what I mean? So
Wow,
Muchkajawe. So if you ever run into a Mi'kmaq and they ask you how you are, say Muchkajawe.
Run into a Micmac. I've never even heard of one. This is fascinating.
Well, you heard of Algonquins, right?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
You'd be amazed how little the majority of Americans know about any tribal culture whatsoever, Marlena.
Yep.
Look, Americans.
Most people.
We just want to learn about ourselves.
We're narcissistic
but you guys
assholes.
are all native. No matter which one of you guys look back into your ancestry, you're gonna know that you're native too. So
it's true. I agree with that.
You guys are children of us. Just because we kept our bloodline a certain way doesn't mean that you guys are not part of it. Everybody is mixed now, right?
Yeah.
I'm 100%.
How did your tribe look at that? It seems like you're pretty.
Well, we love
you're
each
pretty
other, right?
accepting.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're too accepting, I think. Too accepting at times.
Maybe.
Yeah, come on in my house.
But you know
out.
this if you weren't, this conversation that we're having wouldn't be possible.
That's right. Yeah. But even Karen asked me one time, well, how come you don't hate us? It's like, why should I hate you? There's no reason. There's no room. We don't even have a word for hate in our language. There's no word for hate. So what does that tell you?
Nice. Yeah.
What's the word for that feeling?
You don't have that. There's no word for it. When you say it, when you hear someone say talking like this, they'll use the English word because we don't have that word.
But you guys certainly, like what Jibby was getting at, you guys certainly experience that feeling.
Oh yeah, like a discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but the hate, the word hate is a learned behavior that you learn when you're little.
sure.
Okay, that's a learned behavior. If you're not learned that behavior or taught that behavior, you're not going to turn around and hate things. It's hard to explain if you don't experience it. But I mean, of
I
course,
get it.
later on in life, I experienced it very much so. But then you have to refocus yourself. What's that?
Once you learned English.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Once the language informs us and how to feel sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, that's
True.
unfortunate. Hmm. Powerful
Okay, I'm sorry
stuff.
for cutting you off, Jibby. Yeah, it's a good
No,
piano.
this
Good guys.
don't be apologize for anything. It's all great stuff. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy that you invited me in.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Wobbly, for
Yeah,
tracking me down.
Wobbly Boost. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
I wasn't even in the house. He's like,
So
you know
that's
Ty?
good.
I'm like, yes, I know Ty.
Yeah, it's like the past week. It's just been like we couldn't turn around without bumping into each other.
I know. Isn't that funny?
Well, yeah, I
It was
think
meant
it
to
was
be.
exactly what it was meant to be. Exactly. Yeah.
And Wobbly helped us from Tomorrowland because he's in Monday.
Right? He came from the future.
He came to he helped us from the future.
I love it. I love it, you
I
guys.
still don't get that stuff. Get time zones, man.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
weird. So Jibby, drop some more stuff on us so we can completely talk about something else.
Like
So where
to
did you get this,
begin.
Jibby? Where did you get
Oh,
this specific
this
article?
this is from an article. Where is it? Pacific Commercial. Barely read that. It's online. I forgot what I. The Pacific Commercial. I can't read that. Adverb. I don't know. I can't read it. I pulled it up just searching for flat Earth articles, like just flat Earth article. Look at images and you can trace it back. But somebody was posting this around like last year or whatever, and it just reminded me of you talking about the 26 lands, and so I thought this would be a good representation of both cultures. This is from Chinese, I believe. This was the Chinese map. Interesting how the cultures, when it tends to kind of tell the same story, it adds a lot of validity to, especially being so far apart, the different cultures. So I think we're on to something with a little substance here. We can put our teeth into with this type of an image.
Right.
But I just don't.
You guys heard of a medicine wheel before, right?
Yeah.
Or Mandelas and stuff like that.
Yes.
Well, we always knew there was other races of man. And you could tell this just by looking at a medicine wheel because we have the black, white, yellow, and red. And those are also for the directions. So each direction is where these different people were. I'm just letting you guys, we did know of other people. And that's kind of a proof too, because we've always had the medicine wheel.
Yeah.
How does the sunlight get to them? Is my biggest query.
They have their own suns though, right?
I don't know.
Places. No, I'm telling you.
Oh, you're telling me that there's another sun that we just can't see because of vanishing point.
Sometimes you can see these. Sometimes people get them. Sometimes, like I have a video where you can actually see one. Only because I'm so far up north, right? Okay, I'm in Canada, by the way, for people that don't know.
Yeah.
I'm in the Northeast. Sometimes people do capture the suns.
And I think it's important to note. I mean, what I've been coming to is that I'm trying to avoid thinking of the sun as a physical object, which I know is difficult for people. But I think that it's mostly it's a projection of an energy source
Right.
from somewhere else, and it doesn't.
It's an entity.
It appears.
Yeah.
It appears where it needs to from your perspective. It can't easily be explained, but it's not as easy as saying, here is this singular physical object and it's here. You can track it specifically. I think it could be. I think it's even possible for what we call the sun to be in more than one place at one time. If that makes sense, does that make sense?
Yep, it
I
does.
don't know.
See, when you unlearn, because you guys have to unlearn all this stuff, right?
We do.
When you learn the logical, the most straightforward way, it makes more sense to you, doesn't it? Like if you could do a little memory erase of this, saying that's a fireball. Now you put fire near a plant, what's going to happen to your plant? You're going to kill your plant. You're going to catch it on fire. It's going to die, right? But you put your plant near lamps and electricity, and your plant's going to flourish and grow. And people have to remember that. Just thinking about fire above you, we'd all be burnt. Like the plants and everything wouldn't grow if it was fire.
And our sunburns are electric burns.
Exactly.
But I would assume that another sun, let's say the one out here is red, that's going to have a whole different effect on our cells, molecular density, all that. And this, now we can go back to like the stories of Superman. You know what I'm saying? Superman, when he came in contact with the yellow sun, it changed his molecular density, made him Superman. Well, they invert the truth. So let's reverse it. And that's why they're not coming here, because the yellow sun probably weakens them.
Well, the way it's taught to us is the reason why they're not coming here is because they're afraid of being killed. Because no matter how many times people did try to whatever, over here, people, the first thing they do is kill each other. Would you want to come to a place where the first thing they do is kill you?
This may be not the first place I'd like to visit, no.
I'm being totally honest with you. These other places don't carry weapons. They don't live the way we do.
Right.
They help each other, period.
They would definitely have different lifespans. I mean, because the sun is giving off radiation. And I would assume different suns give off different types of radiation. It would have an effect on lifespan. And if we branched out and was the influence of the other sun, we might live to 1,000 years, like the stories in the Bible, and Noah's having kids at 500 and stuff like what? Like how? But yeah, I don't know. Definitely, they're holding this information from us.
It did.
For a reason.
Okay. Here's a question.
Because it's a control.
Based on this information, okay, that there are these established other lands, okay. What's the context for them wanting to keep us in the birdcage? Why do they want us to keep us away from these other lands? Is it some kind of agreement? Is it? Why are they trying to keep it secret?
The treaty shows it right there. The treaty shows it. I mean, all these places signed a treaty. These places that don't even talk to each other. Right. Don't even like each other. Agreement not to go over there.
So what power? So do the lands outside of the birdcage we live in have power over the lands inside of this birdcage? Is that? And they're telling? Are they telling? They're like, look, you guys are too violent. You're too. Keep them out of here, or what's the motivation?
Yeah, it is. It's like we're the ghetto of.
I mean, I've had these thoughts. I've had these thoughts. Like maybe we're just like the scum of this whole thing, and they're like, we can't have them coming over here because they're going to infect us with their bullshit.
Well, why
or diseases?
Right.
What makes us inside what Ty's calling the birdcage different from those outside? I mean, logically, you'd have to assume at some point we all live together. What would have happened to make us who live here now sequestered from everybody else?
Because we're a dangerous species. Weapons.
So they are a different species, is what you're saying then?
Well, I don't mean it like species that way. I'm talking about the way we're brought up. Yeah, I think they would look different because we have a creation story. They do look different. Each one of them look different. It sounds weird, but giants and stuff. That's in our stories about. There's 17 races of man, and they're all sent out to these places. And one day when we get a chance, I could tell you guys the whole entire creation story that we have. It just take really long. And there were 17 races of man sent out to all these places. And they're supposed to stay there and do what they're supposed to do.
Which is what? Pay taxes?
No, that's the thing. You know, we're hostages here. I really know that. We're not supposed to live like this.
No,
We're not supposed to be. You know?
So maybe I think maybe Ty may have already asked this. Maybe I missed the answer. So who's keeping us hostage then?
The government.
So then they're working. Well, they live the good life on our blood, sweat, and tears here, and they don't want to, lose their meal wagon, because without us, they have to work. They have to, cook their own meals and put their own underwear on and things like that.
That's right.
They don't do. So they want this system to stay the way it is that lifts them up. And
oh my God, would you want it to change if you had people doing everything for you?
Absolutely not. So from their perspective, they want this to keep going.
Yeah.
And they control all the information and imagery, and basically they teach us what our reality is.
But in terms of this model that the map, the 26 other lands, is the government just as much of hostages as we are, and they just happen to rise to the top, and they're the big fish in the small pond?
No, I doubt it. I really doubt it. Just because, the way that the way we're supposed to be living is we're supposed to be helping each other. We're supposed to prosper together, and they have their fear as their currency. So the more they keep people scared, the more they want to stay in their homes. They don't want to do stuff. Just work the daily grind, right? Because it is. As soon as people start getting free, and the truth starts coming out about something, what do? They cause this great big thing to happen, these false flags, they create these huge, scary things for people to get really scared, and then, we have to stay home, and everybody get their water together and stay home, because they're scared.
Milk, bread, and eggs, the storm's coming, and those are the three things that will go bad the fastest when the power goes out. They have us trained like idiots.
Yeah.
And we think like the way they want us to think. Like they control our thought process, like how we think of things, how we think of ourselves. Like it's severe mind control.
You're right. Mm-hmm. And look at women. We're always competing about how we look. And we're only competing with each other. It's not even, they show this thing on TV. Every woman has to wear it.
Yeah.
They control what everybody buys. The consumers, they're totally in control of everything.
Yeah, we only have their options, which is now turning into Chinese Hong Kong goods that last a year.
Yeah. Well, look at when one of the iPhones come out, or one of the Xbox games come out. The lineups are ridiculous for these things.
Yep. Yeah, these people need real problems.
Yes.
And we're creating massive amounts of junk too by manufacturing products that don't last very long. Just increases garbage. It's more and more destruction. It's like a society of destroying this place. So they're governing it, but they're also massively destroying it on purpose. Mm-hmm. Why? The Bible people will tell you it's Satan's influence and control over it, and there's other cultures that say different things, but they are destroying it. They're taking the oil out. They're killing the lands. They're spraying the sky. Why are they destroying it? Like, wouldn't they want us to keep going? Well, they're trimming our lives down just right, because by the time you should be getting Social Security, that's when you have cancer, and all your assets will be gobbled up by them in liens for your treatments. And yeah, they had it just right now, because once you're retired, you're a useless eater. You do nothing for them. Now you're just a sponge. You just required being taken care of. So they got it down just right around. You get cancer right around your
50s, 60s.
Yeah, late 50s, early 60s. and then the treatment will last like 3 to say 7 years, or usually when you run out of money, that's when they're like thinking about end of life care and hospice and all, and it's all set up now, and it's going to affect everybody. But that's when people will start to care and wake up, is when it hits home.
Yep.
Then they'll hit the research. Then they'll come across all this stuff when it's too late.
You know, my aunt just died. She was 102 years old.
Nice. Wow. I want to eat whatever she was eating. Yes. But that's
we live off the land. That's the thing, right? People don't do that anymore. They do. We do here. We have our community gardens, and we have like we do our annual hunt together, and 2 moose will feed our whole community. We have our stuff people don't do this. I couldn't believe that. That I gave some seeds to this teenager, because I worked at a group home helping teenagers, right, for a while. And I gave him some seeds out of my pepper, a green pepper. And he never knew that grew stuff. That blew my mind. This kid was 16 years old and didn't know that these seeds make plants. I met up with him like 2 years later. He said, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe that seed you gave me? I had all these peppers, all these plants." He had no idea.
Yeah.
I lived in Haiti for 3 months.
Wow.
And we were teaching people how to do that, how to garden. Their government don't tell them. Either you're rich or you're poor. That's it. There's no in between. And there were so many times where someone would come in the middle of the night and tear all our vegetables up. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's control.
It's insanity. This place is infected with insanity.
It's weird, isn't it? People forgot how to love each other.
People forgot how to love themselves. You have to love yourself first.
Definitely.
And all this television and this culture does is humiliate you and make you feel inferior. And over time and years and constant repetition, you grow a depression, you grow a self-hate. And then people...
You're not good enough.
Yeah, you're never good enough. You're never thin enough. You're never good looking enough. You're never good enough at whatever you're doing. If you got 10 first place, well, somebody got 11. It's chasing the carrot. Try harder.
And what that does, it sets you on this endless cycle throughout your entire life, to where you're always trying to get to where you think you're supposed to be, even though you'll never get that.
Right.
So it's this lifetime of arbitrary searching.
Yeah.
And it just comes down to wasting your time.
It's something Louie and I talk about a lot, because we've wanted to be writers our whole lives, and we kind of have this image of what a writer is supposed to be, and we're always chasing that kind of phantom and never living up to it, so we always feel like we're failing all the time,
And it's never even existed in the first place. That's how good they are at at getting into everybody's head and shaping their reality. I mean, that's a crazy fucking idea to think. It's what's going on. They're shaping our reality.
They create the template that everyone follows, and then that results in everyone being the Borg.
Right.
How many times do they make fun of us, but they're all the Borg. They always say the same exact thing. Oh, Earth's flat. Well, where's the picture of the edge? It's like, wow, that's the first time I've ever heard it. You people all think and say the same things. That's the Borg.
Program response, right?
Yes, it's a programmed automatic, and it's word for word verbatim. Yep. How is that possible? But it happens, and they all say the same exact things. It's encountered that over the past 3 years. Same exact response. My friends on Facebook, they're like, man.
There's 3 of them. There's the anger. There's one type of program response is they get real angry with you. The second one is they do that, what you just said, with dismissive or, that kind of thing. And the other one, they just don't care.
Yeah, but it's a template. Yeah. That's an exterior template that was created, and that people just pick their template that they feel that most resonates with them. Whether it's, okay, I'm going to dye my hair black I'm going to wear black lipstick. I'm going to tattoos. I got to get these piercings. Okay. And then I got to go to Hot Topic and buy these clothes. Now I'm this template. Okay. Well, I like sports. Okay. I got to shave my head, wear a baseball cap with my favorite sports team. Got to wear the jersey. I have to like buffalo wings. I watch Sports Center. And then you're that template. And it's just the Borg. It's just different Borg drones. You're just drones. That's all you are. You think the same. You talk the same.
Yeah.
You're all the same. There's no more. They robbed uniqueness.
Is resistance futile? Which is what they'd like us to
No,
believe.
because we've all been resisting, and has it been futile? No.
I don't know.
Mean,
I don't think so.
What do you mean by that, though? I don't understand that question.
Is it futile? Have you ever watched Star Trek?
Yeah, and that's
well, the Borg.
That kind of a life.
The tagline for the Borg is "Resistance is futile." Like there's no avoiding it. You're going to be assimilated one way or the other.
And we have been in some way or another. We're just not on the basic simpleton Borg level. We're probably just a higher intellectual level of assimilated.
Yeah,
which we are.
But I'm not foolish enough to think that I'm still not falling for some of their traps. You know.
Oh, you do every day. Everybody does.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't.
You can't avoid them when you don't know all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think we should be leery of people who claim to have avoided all the traps, or that they've transcended above all of it. It's we're all susceptible on some level to some of the nonsense that they're pushing.
But we're
because
we're reviewing
when
that
they say that, because they tell you the only way you're accepted if you have money. I don't get that. The only way that you're the best and most powerful is if you have money, which is bullshit.
And I know
some total assholes who are rich.
As an authentic person trying to make money in this world, I find it very difficult. I have problems making money.
And you always will, because you're not one of them.
Exactly. And I've come to understand
you turn into one of them, you'll be rich.
I'm not, because I have these kind of boundaries I won't cross, and there are things that I want to hold fast to. There's no way I'm ever going to get to the point where I'm making that kind of money. It's just not going to happen. And I'm
morals, right?
It just means I have to work twice as hard to make enough money to do the things I want to do, and that I'm becoming okay with that. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Can you imagine in a life where you could turn around and, because you're friends with certain people, and I'm not talking about money wise, I'm talking about helping each other. Like, say, because I'm a pilot, we could turn around and, hey, let's go on a vacation somewhere just because we're friends. And that, you do something for me, I do something for you. Like, if you're going to help me with my garden.
Yeah.
Or help me put a window in my house. Hey, we'll go for a flight down wherever. That's how it should be.
That is how it should be.
That's how life should be.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. And, they say, be the change you want to see. I'm being that change. And it goes against the grind of, everyone around me. But I can look at myself in the mirror and I don't hate myself. And, and I don't, what Flat Earth has done for me is it made me see, like, wow, my parents were so deceived and they were only doing what they thought was right. So it brought a lot of, like, past healing. Healing of my past, and a lot of people too. Like, you think about, wow, like, we were all so deceived. It wasn't their fault because of the situation and the control system and the mind control and all. It wasn't their fault. Like, all right, and I don't know. It's a lot of healing. Flat Earth is not just a physical thing. It's most of the change is internal.
I love that.
When you look outside, globe Earth or flat Earth, it still looks the same. But the flat Earther on the inside is what changes. You change on the inside. It's more of an internal thing to me. Abstract.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's a good change. It's a change for the better, because the globe mentality is selfish. It's egotistic. It's the egocentric model, I call it.
The egocentric. I like that, dude.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
The
gonna.
egocentric model.
I'm so stealing
I'm
that.
stealing it too.
I'm still stealing
The
it, and
world
like
revolves
I'm
around
not
me.
even.
It's the
I'm not gonna
egocentric
give you
model.
any credit either. I'm gonna steal it and call it my own.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But you
the
know, when
world
you lay
revolves
your
around
head
that.
down at night, you didn't cut somebody's throat to get where you are. And you know, another thing I noticed about quote unquote flat earthers, I don't even like calling it that, but us awake people, I call us the woken, because people are woken, right? Is all of the natural cures that I see. Well, like, hey, this worked for me, and you know, and this worked for me. This is all natural shit that's coming out for a lot of people. You know, the CBD oil helping people, like curing them. You know, this kind of
Yes.
stuff is beautiful because now that this and I've watched the flat Earth community grow. I remember when there was only like maybe 20 people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then
It
all
was
of a
tough in
sudden
the
it's
beginning.
beautiful. Yeah, there's millions now.
I
It
know.
feels
I know.
like there
It's
might be
incredible.
millions. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to measure.
There is.
I would
I've talked
love.
to a lot of them, a lot of these groups. I'm just saying, since I've noticed that it started to flourish, and what happens is it goes through waves, and it's the same pattern of waves. Like I see it, I totally see it, and it correlates with the Schumann resonance. So I'm wondering if Mother Earth's frequency
Is rising.
is the one that's causing us,
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
lot of us
Yeah.
to.
And this is what I think this multi-tower grid is trying to suppress as well, putting us in like a Faraday cage electronically. So it's cutting us off from the Earth's natural frequency or the sun's, whichever one is
Yep.
rising up, because it does seem to be an increase in the frequency. So they're caging us. So, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's multiple
People are
uses.
having them.
The chemtrails like the lid on the microwave door. So we're all being defrosted at like 0.005%, very slowly, microwaved. It's we got to get out of this. We got to take these things down or leave. It's one or the other, the way I see it, or we're going to get cancer. This is the way it is.
Well, it's infiltration, and we had to find people that can do the infiltration. And I know there are a few already. I remember about 6-7 years ago, this one guy said he's going to school so he could work at NASA, just so that he could do this and
Nice.
kill people. There's a lot of people doing that. They're doing infiltration. So, I know for sure he's in there only because of the stuff that's been coming out of NASA.
It does seem like they're helping us. Ty and I were talking
Accidentally.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this I mean, this is a little aside, but I'm sure most people here are familiar with Enar Kusk, um, director of Finding the Curve, and he's had a lifetime dream of being connected to Hollywood, being an actor, producing films, and from his, I had a long talk with him a while back. We did a stream, and he was like, people tend to think that the stuff in movies that we pick up on, the stuff that it seems like they're trying to show us something, or a lot of people say, well, they're mocking us. They're trying to, like, they're poking fun at us. But he's like, if Enar Kus got in a position where he could make a high budget Hollywood film, he'd be dropping hints to Flat Earth in that film. And he would be
They
doing
do
it from
in
an
many films.
authentic perspective of trying to wake people up. And it's like, well, maybe this is what's actually going on, is that people are in there and they're trying to drop hints. I think that might be more valid.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally with that, because there's certain things, like say time crystals, that they had discovered these over 20 years ago. They discovered time. Yeah, there's time crystals in the caves. We have them here too. We're not allowed to touch them. We don't touch them. We leave them where they are. Okay. So recently, this is so funny. Recently, this is just this year, we discovered time crystals. And this is this year they're saying this now. When this shit happened years ago, and like in reality, it really happened years ago. And then all of a sudden, I watched a show the other day, some movie, I can't remember which one it was recommended to me. One of the people in my chat room did. And then on there, they're like time crystals, and it making it sound like it's like this big, sci-fi thing. It's like,
Of
hey, no,
course.
those are real.
Okay, well, hold
I gotta
on.
look
Give
at
us
those.
some more background on that. Time crystal.
Well, they
Unless, I mean,
something
if
weird
you
happens
can.
around them. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but you guys could just look it up real quick. I just hate to look it up and then read from something that you guys can read from. But
Right.
basically, what it does is there's this real weird phenomenon that happens around a time crystal, where things seem to slow down.
Okay.
And they could use these for. They've been using them inside motherboards. Also. Yeah.
So
it
might it will slow something down, so it seems like the computer's faster than it is.
Right. Yep.
Because
There's
it's actually, I understand that actually makes sense to me.
Yeah. But this is a thing that's always been here. But now they're like, oh, check it out, right? So this is really funny. So 1 minute they're saying it's a natural thing that happens inside the Earth, which it is for us here, what we learn. But now they're trying to say, and I think it's so that people don't look for them, is now they're trying to say that scientists are the ones that made them.
Right. They're
Which is bullshit.
Right. We all know that scientists didn't make, they've never made shit. They've discovered things accidentally.
You will slow your aging if you wear one in like a necklace. Theoretically, if that's what these things do, time will slow down for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that use those time crystals for a lot of things. They put them in their gardens for their crops to last. Yeah,
right.
They have a different kind of.
Who has access to these things?
Everybody does.
Where?
Jimmy's like,
Just have to look for
where
what
can
you
I
look
buy
for,
them on
Jimmy.
eBay? What the fuck?
Probably. You never know these days. You probably can.
I'll put them in my shoes. I'll be the Flash. Where are they?
Can you imagine? They're in caves and stuff. You gotta I'm sure no matter where you live, a total part of the way that Mother Earth survives. I think that's a big part of it because we know that her water is her blood, right?
Yeah.
We know that that's what keeps her living.
Well, I think the blood is outside the veins.
Yeah. Well, we're the water protectors. Our tribes, right? All Native people were always fighting to keep her veins clean.
Yeah.
Well, I think that might have been the cause of this great flood. Is somebody cut her arteries and she bled out.
Oh. You never know.
We're in a pool of blood here. Crime scene.
Blood.
As silly
the Mariana
as it sounds
Trench
to some people,
slice.
It's true.
So
there's a reason why we protect her and protect her blood, her veins, her water.
There's underground oceans.
So Jibby,
yeah, there is. It's cool, right?
I gotta ask, man. I mean, are there a few more things? I mean, I love everything that's been discussed. I love how it's gotten organic. But are there a few more things you'd like to show us about?
I'm going to post all the links to all of this stuff. I'm going to post them in the comments section. I can post them in the chat.
Okay.
It's basically not something I can narrate entirely through, but it's different clips. This is 1942 in the paper. Like this has been reported in newspapers since it's just constantly. It's just, but it's not. They don't promote it, so you were never aware that these things were being. I got an article coming out in the Boston Globe. Going to be flat Earth related. We're going to promote it, but mainstream's not. So a lot of people who don't have the Boston Globe aren't even going to know that article exists. And this is what's happened throughout the entire 19th and 20th century. Flat Earth was constantly being published. Constantly.
Are they presented like in a factual way, or are they like a bunch of the other articles?
No, a lot of times it was you could a lot of times it was you could read the tone of voice basically, like and the word stuff. theorists, flat earth theorists. They insist that it's this. They deny science, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But it was still published. I mean, it was still giving them attention,
Right,
basically.
right.
Whether it's good or
Right.
bad, it's still out there.
Yeah.
So this is, a lot of people have probably remember talking to their grandparents. Their grandparents were still believing the earth was flat. Oh, that's nonsense. That Hollywood movie pictures nonsense. I don't believe any of that crap. Like I remember hearing old men talking like that, born in the in the early 1900s, and remember like just hearing them talk as old men. Like that's all crap. It's always been crap. They just want to, and you always think that they're grumpy old men, but no, then they were grumpy for a reason.
I'm only 36, and that's how I watch movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all just
So-
that nonsense.
If you had to put an estimate on when this thing was
It depends on when the globe
universally
got to you. For America, the globe is only probably 150 to 200 years old for America. The globe has different ages depending on where it got
Sure.
to, when it got
I
there.
understand that.
So for America, you can't say the globe's 2000. No, that's what they said. But in America, the concept of it and everything is only about 150 to 200 years old.
That's just
English,
the concept. That doesn't even mean that it was broadly accepted. It just means the concept was widely
because you're illiterate.
introduced.
So how can you have? Yeah, if you're illiterate, how do you have anything other than just the concept and what they said? You don't know how to do math. You don't know how to read. You know how to survive and take care of your family and get by and work with your community or whatever. You're simple people.
Right.
It was the royalty, the English who were, they always had that pompous attitude. That's the royalty attitude, which the entitlement. And people always emulated it because they're like, oh, I want to be like, look how comfortable they are. Look how they seem so happy. Well, of course, because everybody's doing everything for them and they just pampered. So people, even today, like the royal wedding. Oh, break out to the royal wedding. Who cares about
What
the royal
is
wedding?
that?
You
Yeah,
people would-
what is that? This not like that we would care about these people. I mean,
Yeah, what are you people doing in the UK over there? You have kings and queens, and what are you playing fantasy fairy tale land? Like,
or do these
for
people have
real.
actual sway, or do these people, are they
allegedly
just being
they don't. Allegedly, they're just supposed to be
right?
figureheads.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're being presented as just some kind of almost like fictional fantasy representation of something. But then why would we care? Why is it newsworthy? I mean, it's almost like two kids playing house in their basement. Like, are we gonna make that newsworthy because they're having
Exactly.
a fantasy? Or
But what are they want, like what are they wanting us to see or not see? So there's definitely a reason why it gets so much publicity.
It's to chase the carrot because you look how well off they are. Keep working harder. Keep working out. You know who wins the rat race? Rats.
yeah.
If they
Keep
keep
chasing the
people
carrot.
focused on material things, then what they're doing is they're taking away from what you really are. We are spirits having a human experience, where it's not the other way around. And with us, with our culture, we make sure that we keep certain things intact, like using your sixth and seventh senses, right? By materializing people, it's taken away from their natural abilities that you are born with. That is
We're all aware of them, basically, but not everybody was taught how to be their Jedi within.
That's
like,
right.
which is just what the Jedi is. It's just you're taking full use and awareness of your extra senses and abilities, and that's all it is.
They take away that they do it at a very young age.
Yeah.
By Santa Claus, they'll sit there and they'll make them believe in all this beautiful magic, this Christmas magic, and what do? They shoot you down when you're little. That's not true.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start losing those certain things that you were born with, your insight.
I've always found
Right.
that really
That's right.
fascinating. Like, why is that precedent set so early? that we're going to be lied to.
Mhm.
It almost
So you
seems
stop using these
seems
abilities.
counterproductive.
And it also creates your first distrust of your own family.
Well, it does
That's
that.
right.
It does that for sure.
the-
Like
It
my
ruins your
parents,
imagination
my
too.
parents are going to lie to me about stuff.
Yeah. Now you're being lied to on a fundamental home level. That's your base. And now
Betrayal.
your base foundation is cracked early on.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, the longer you're in something, the longer it takes to get out.
Mm.
They make you think that your imagination isn't real, and your imagination is a really big part of growing. Like to make things materialize or whatever sounds kind of like sci-fi, but it's not. I mean, I know every one of you had the feeling when someone walks into the room, you know what they're like without even talking to them.
That's Jedi. Exactly.
Yeah, true. But that's what they're taking away from us. They take that away from. I'm saying us as a group, not as individuals. I'm saying as a group. The most powerful people are the ones that still believe and know. I shouldn't say believe. I don't like that word believe because to me it's a make-believe thing. But when you know that you can do these things with energy, with your own energy, you can heal people and all that stuff. That take that away from you by making you stop believing in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yourself.
I have the same feelings about
There's,
that word, Marlena. Believe. I'm leery of using it all the time.
Well, that's the first thing a global says to you guys. I notice. You believe that?
You believe
You know?
that. I don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't like that word. I try to avoid it.
Yeah.
I told
see?
the Boston Globe, I said, I don't believe the Earth's flat. I know it is.
I know.
Exactly.
I made sure to
Exactly.
keep saying that to him and using the word no. Like
Yeah.
I came to the conclusion because of the facts. Like I was very careful with the words I used.
Well, yeah, because they could twist everything you say around, right?
I know lawyers speak, which is basically just being very precise with your words.
Yeah.
And the concept, they required print and then eventually moved on to moving pictures, movies, and so yes, is your imagination powerful? The globe only exists in your imagination.
Mhm.
Like that's where it exists. It doesn't exist out in the physical world. It only exists there. So is it
It's
powerful?
because they
Yeah.
said so. Because
Yeah.
they said so.
And your imagination just goes wild with it because they go, look at this picture, this is endless. Look at this picture, this is endless. Look at all these zeros, and then you just your mind is just like, wow.
See, the biggest deceit that they did to man is saying that there's a beginning and an end. Where we're with us, we don't believe that. Believe in, I'm saying believe that way. We know that it's always been. And when somebody has their mind narrowed down to, okay, there has to be a beginning and an end, like you live and then you die, that's it. No, it's always been. And once you can crack that away from your system and into your head system, whatever you want to call it, your own little computer head, that there doesn't have to be an end or destruction of things.
Right.
Well, there is for us on a personal level. We have an end, and I think we're probably supposed to live 1,000 years. And it's even said like we get another set of teeth around age 120. Well, why would our bodies be made that way unless we were meant to?
That's right. Our cells regenerate every 7 years. You know that, right? And it's by putting stuff on your skin like sunblock is very bad for you.
Oh yeah.
That causes cancer. We're not supposed to block out the sun. The sun has the energy the sun has helps us.
I know, but they've convinced people. No, salt is bad. Sunlight is bad. Water is bad. Like, oh my god.
But no, it's the stuff that they're putting into it is bad.
And then they use the witchcraft because they put on a white coat. Now this costume has a power over you because of the image of it. The police uniform, the white coat, the scientist, the doctor, the title. This is all royalty concepts. So title and stature and bullshit. Just the blue collar people. You want to earn their trust. You the fruits that you bear, a hard day's work, a good handshake, that kind of like man of your word. Their thing is entitlement. It's all entitlement and pomp and circumstance, and just it's presentation. It's all
Exactly. And they sit in
presentation,
front of
no
the class
substance.
and da-da-da. See, with us, when you have anything, we have talking circles. There is no up and down. You know what I mean? There's no, okay, everybody's going to sit here, and then there's going to be somebody at the top of the, at the head of the class sitting there, in a higher chair than you. There's not like that when we do teachings. We're all in a circle because we're all equal.
Right. The way it
That's
should
the
be.
reason. That's the reason for talking.
See, they're above everybody, and that mentality, it's kind of like a mental infection, where entitlement, it's like a mental infection, and you get infected with entitlement. We all know the type.
Yep.
And they're starting at a young age now. Television, teaching kids how to be entitled, and
Oh.
Disney is the devil. My God. The Globe presented by Disney. Like, it's just.
It's funny you said that, because like the little boy here, I teach him sign language. Well, we teach all our children sign language, but
why do you do that?
Because children know how to speak or know how to communicate when they're little, like in their months. That learning speech or whatever, children learn that at 2-3 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
But children actually can communicate with you when they're 2-3 months old.
Sure.
So you know what I mean? So then you teach your children sign language, and no matter where you are, you could speak to anybody with sign language. Even if you don't know sign language and I started talking to you in sign language, you're going to know what I'm saying, because you know certain gestures. Oh, okay, that must mean this. That must mean that.
Right.
But that's just the way we are. If you look at when you watch any native person talk, they talk with their hands when they're talking.
I used to work with a blind and deaf individual, and we had to do a different kind of sign language with him, because we had to make use of his sense of touch. Right. And I communicated with him. He communicated with us, and he was in his 50s, and he was blind and deaf his entire life. So he's never heard or saw anything ever. And he'd sit there and just crack up laughing sometimes. And we would just be like, what the hell is he thinking? Like, and he's just cracking up. But he loved things like candle stores and things like that for the sense of smell. So he only had a few senses. And it was amazing. But hand communications, things like that, and putting his hand up to his mouth. He wants food. He makes a gesture like he's holding a cup. Now he's thirsty when he puts that up to his mouth.
In regular sign language, that's both eat and drink. That's the same thing.
Yep. Yeah. And there was this thing where he had to go to the bathroom. Like something tapped his palm or something like that, or make a fist was a poop.
Yeah.
Different things like that.
It is.
Dude, I'm totally making a fist every time I have to poop now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's funny because anyway, what I was going to get at with that was I had one of his cartoons on, and you know what they were showing is at such a little age is the sun and the planets. I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
The baby crib, the planets and the stars circling overhead in the baby crib.
Yeah.
They get you there.
It starts with the so early, model. Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one thing to have the lights on the ceiling, but the physical spheres in the baby crib thing, like that.
The mobiles.
Now you're starting to envision spheres in the sky, on an unconscious level already. Like, so this is why they're like, of course it's a globe. Of course these planets are spheres, because at the fundamental core level, when you were in the baby crib, that's what you saw.
Right.
You get programmed, and it's locked in, so it feels like 100% true to you.
So
which is why they won't even entertain the flat Earth thing. But this influence, it's been multi levels.
Yeah.
It goes from toys, baby crib, everything. As industry started to expand and variety, they would stick this their lie, into each one of these mediums. So they're going to get to you one way. You can shut your TV off or your radio. They're going to get to you. Just like today, they'll find a way. It's going to be in something. because they own everything. And
So
what they don't own, they will own because they're going to buy you out.
I'd like to ask you guys, like, it's not. There's this channel I sometimes check in with. It's Max Malone or something like that, and he put out a recent video where he basically just saying it's futile. There's no way you're never going to awaken the masses to the flat Earth. It's not going to happen. It was from a Christian perspective kind of thing, and it's like you're just never going to achieve it.
You know what's funny about
And
that?
is that
Is that the
how
Bible
do you?
says it's flat.
I know, and this is
And the Quran.
how do you guys feel? Are we on a futile mission, or
No, I believe
can
that
we do
we're
this?
wicked. Yes,
They're on
we
the
can.
futile mission.
They are. But, you know, some people just don't want to be woke.
Right.
Some people like being in a little bubble. But no, I don't think it is. I think that, you know, the reason we're waking up when I always say I'm talking about masses, the way that people are waking up in these small waves is because can you imagine if and I think that Mother Earth did this for a reason, you know, only because, what'd you say? Because everybody, what?
Wait, what?
Oh, my daughter said everybody's ruining the planet.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so what happens is when you're woken up in little pockets like this,
Yeah.
that helps the next person wake up. Now, if you try to wake everybody up at one time, it would be a mass, you know.
There'd be
panic.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heart
it would
attacks,
cause
all
it would
kinds
cause
of
problems on a
Yeah.
scale that would actually hurt people.
Right. So I think it's doing it like this is specific.
And when somebody gets to the level where basically they need to shift the gear because the RPMs are in the red, time to shift gear, they will come into when they're ready. You know, like it's not for everybody at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like people will, whatever the frequency rising up, whatever you want to call it, but this will cross their path, and they'll absorb the truth when they're ready, when there's time, when their systems can handle it, when their mind can handle it. It's not something that we really should be chasing people down and force feeding them with,
Right.
because they might not be ready for that yet, and that could cause more problems.
So you think
it would?
you think that it's an achievable goal?
Yep.
And
yeah,
I've seen it. I've been seeing it all these years.
What's our best foot forward? How do we go about this moving forward? I know the internet is a great tool, but I don't think it's the end all be all.
Exactly what you guys are doing
I do
now.
think that we have to go outside our door and actually engage
like you at your
people.
magazine, right?
Yes.
Like I told you the other day, you at your magazine is perfect because there's a lot of people that don't use the internet.
Yeah.
And we're making headway in different countries and areas where we're getting in the newspaper. The Denver Post, now it'll be the Boston Globe. The UK had publication, so it's getting in the papers, magazine, and I can't speak for all the flat Earth meetup groups, but in the New England area, we're constantly like there's different groups. I just heard of another group last night in this New England area that I wasn't aware of. There's a lot of members of it. We're all going to combine, and we do hit the streets. In fact, Brother Ernest, you guys probably, I don't know if you're familiar with Brother Ernest, the guy with the long hair and the beard who's
I am.
always right. Well, he's in jail right now.
What?
He got arrested, I think it was Friday. So he's in jail in Flatpool. Josh,
For what?
one of our that I didn't get to the story yet. Like I was supposed to go to a flat Earth party last night. I was just too tired. I was in Nashua, and Josh was going to tell me the story, but I got to connect with him later today to find out why he's in jail. I don't know, but he's in jail, and as far as I know, he's flat earthing, so it might be related to that. That's all he does. Like he's very
I've
dedicated.
seen a lot of his stuff, and I know there was an early video of him, right, of the cops kind of coming in on him and supposedly trying to do like a wellness check on his kids and stuff.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
know if you've seen that video, Jibby, but
Yep. Yeah.
maybe they
I've
tried
been
to
to his
claim
house.
that
Like,
maybe he tried to. They're trying to claim that there's some kind of child endangerment going on. That seems like the easiest route to getting him in
now
jail.
his kids are fine. I've been to
Of
his
course they
house.
are.
And his sister wives are really good. I mean, he's got a
What are you
good
talking
setup.
about? I'm sorry, I missed that
Brother
part.
Ernest, brother
Oh,
Ernest. So I'm assuming he's in jail for flat earthing. I don't know if I can't see the chat right now. Josh was in the chat when we started.
hey,
Maybe
where's
if
Josh?
he's still listening, Josh is flat pool.
Yeah, he's
Flat
really
pole.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Another way to put it out, we talked about this on another panel, you and I, Ty, is there's all these parades coming up.
Mm.
It's a challenge. If people could go out and put, because anybody can register a float in the parades. Put a flat Earth float out.
conferences we're
Ooh,
doing.
I like that.
Yeah, I
The
do, because
FEMA campus today.
everybody goes to parades. You can put a flat Earth float out there.
Exactly.
Have a thing going water being flat.
Yeah. So every town, if you guys have parades in your town, get involved. Get flat Earth people together in your
Yep.
town, and do a flat Earth.
Do a flat Earth
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
And of
That's
course,
easy, and it'll be fun.
there's always letters to the editor. Every
Yep.
town, every place has a local publication that you can write letters to. It. We just have to start propagating at the local level and getting this stuff out there.
It took
It's so
years.
important.
But with 9/11, trying to spread 9/11 truth, it took years and years and years to get the numbers that we just got probably in the first year of flat Earth. So this is the one unique conspiracy or whatever you want to call it that has grown the fastest that I've ever seen of all of them. I've been conspiracying 20, 30 years. This is the fastest growing one for a reason, because it's one that it's taking people out of a lie. It's dehypnotizing them. It's normalizing them because everybody knows something's wrong. They feel it.
Yeah.
And this puts a lot of puzzle pieces together.
Right.
Puts all of them together.
Yeah.
That's what I've found most interesting about flat Earth is, like many people who came to flat Earth naturally over the course of the last 5 years. There were so many questions I had, so many things that didn't make sense, and then when I hit on flat Earth, all of a sudden the dots started connecting. It started making a lot more sense, and I find that really interesting that once you hit on flat Earth, a lot of the other stuff that seemed abstract, that seemed like it didn't make much sense, it starts to make sense.
Yeah, and it turns the volume way down on a lot of the nonsense that was in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
I try to, take breaks from it. I'll play a video game. It's flat Earth in the video game. I mean, I can't like Skyrim. I mean, it's right. Like I can't.
I know, dude. It's like I like video games too. I don't have much time, but I want to play them, and there's all these things I used to enjoy doing, and it's not that there isn't enjoyment there, but there's this sense that like there's this bigger thing that is pulling me.
Yep.
And
spreading the truth.
I feel bad when I'm not.
Well, you have your motherboard, you have Mother Earth, right?
Yeah, I feel bad when I'm not doing that. I feel bad when I'm not giving my time to this other thing. And
that seems
that's
to be
fine.
how just about all of us feel, because even the people who are attacking the flat earthers are still dedicating every day to trolling or whatever, or just they watch more flat earth videos than we do.
Yeah, but I've seen so many people wake up. I've seen people just, totally wake up. I've seen the biggest global people that were so into it. They were the biggest debaters end up becoming flat earthers, only because they see the truth. Oh yeah, I can't, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, you can
You
only
know.
fight it off so long.
Yeah.
And we're coming
And
out
I
with
think-
better and better like imagery and
Right.
presentations and proofs, evidences, more and more distant records. Like I found that Beyond Horizons, everybody's using that. It's awesome. It's like distant records of, and you just do the math. Like it's right there. This is, it's not denying science. It's using it. It's not denying math. It's using it. But they invert everything, and they just want to go
If you
to
go
quick
to
ridicule.
if you go to oldmapsonline.org,
Hmm.
you can find flat Earth maps there, and these are the oldest of the oldest maps.
Okay.
It's-
What's
it's-
what's that link?
Oldmapsonline.org.